Autism and Sensory Processing, Part 4. In this video, I'll be discussing an episode of sensory overload when my perception of reality froze into a still image. I was sitting on a stool at the kitchen counter, eating some food. I had a tall glass of iced tea, and something happened that surprised me. The element of surprise is often a key factor when I have sensory overload issues. That's one of the reasons why I order my life in a way to keep as much familiarity as I can. The more that I can eliminate the element of surprise, the more that I can eliminate episodes of sensory overload. As I was sitting at the counter, I knocked the glass off with my arm. I didn't see the glass go off the counter, but I felt it on my arm. I knew what had happened. And I immediately turned to take a look, and that's when my perception of reality froze into a still image, like a photograph. Very clear, very detailed, but no motion. I saw the overturned glass mid-air, hadn't hit the floor yet, at least not in my perception of vision. I could see where the tea had begun to gush out of it. I could see droplets of tea in the air. And when I processed the sound of the glass hitting the floor and breaking, that's when I was back. I could see movement again. I could track with what was happening. I didn't actually see the glass hit the floor and break, even though my eyes were pointed in that direction. All I saw for a period of time was the frozen image. The moment when I processed the sound of the glass hitting the floor and breaking might not have been the exact moment that the glass hit the floor. There might have been a delay there of a second or two. Sometimes during sensory overload, the rules of time seem to be different from my perspective. I could compare it to when I've had a dream. I fall asleep and I have a dream that seems to last for hours, and then when I wake up from the dream, I look at the clock and see that I had only been asleep for 20 minutes, and I kind of wonder how that works. It can be a little like that. Time doesn't seem to be exactly the same from my perspective during sensory overload. That episode with the glass of iced tea wasn't particularly problematic. There was a mess that I had to clean up, but other than that, it didn't shut me down for the rest of the day. I just went about my business, and that was that. But sometimes when I have issues of sensory overload with the frozen image, sometimes it can be more problematic. Sometimes it can be very unpleasant. There can be some additional wrinkles, and I'll be discussing one of those episodes coming up next in Part 5. Until next time, live well and discern.